Welcome back to our podcast, Redeemed. We're continuing on with this wonderful family drama. That's kind of the reason why I enjoy reading these chapters, just to see how this all plays out. Because once again I say, it's just like, God's got a plan, but the way that we can kind of mess it all up and make a jumble mess. And if you think that people have problems nowadays, it was still going on back then too. You know what I'm saying?
I would like to see. I picture. Not a vision board, but I just the way God sees it, there's this awesome plan. And then I would like to see how he envisioned it going. And then I want to see all the yarn to all the different pieces of how it actually had to get around to how he wanted it to go. Mm-hmm. Because we can't do things the right way.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see how simple it should have been.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm sure that it was a very simple forethought. This is how it's going to work out. This is how it's all going to go. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
Introduce humans.
Yes.
We screwed a lot of it up.
A lot of it up very quickly.
First, sin. And he's like, okay, that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's going to mess some things up.
That's going to mess a lot of things up.
So then I just wonder, okay.
Yeah.
You fools.
Yeah.
So we left off with Jacob running away for his life, basically. And he sounds like he when he left, he didn't take much with him.
Oh, he's running for his life.
Yep. And
Esau's pissed, guys. I got to go.
Gotta go.
And he kind of has this conversation with God along the way, sets up some rocks, calls this place special.
Yeah.
Lord kind of explains to him what's going to be happening, that he hasn't forgotten him, and that he's still going to be used for big things. So, fast forward, Jacob winds up at Laban's house. Everybody should realize who Laban is. That's Rebekah's brother.
Yep.
Yeah. So he went to Rebekah's brother's house, and that's where he's going to camp out for a while. Actually, it seems like a long while. All right. Because even after he gets the two girls, he still stays there.
Yeah, until
he's
got to get out.
He has all of his kids; they're all there.
Yeah.
And then he tells Laban it's time for him to move on. Now, if the timeline is correct here, and we're following this along, that's a long time he was there. But as I've said, the Lord was blessing Jacob everywhere he went. Mm-hmm. So Laban was getting rich because of Jacob.
Yeah, I'm glad my nephew showed up.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
Yeah, everything.
How long you want to stay, dude?
It was obvious to see that God's hand was on Jacob. Yeah. Everything he touched just multiplied, and he was becoming very rich and wealthy very fast. Okay, so here's what we got. Jacob starts living with Laban. Laban has two daughters, Leah, Rachel. One of the daughters, Leah, does not get a very good description in the Bible.
No. Poor Leah. I feel bad.
and you do. You're going to feel sorry for this lady. And then you have Rachel, which the Bible describes her as having a lovely figure and was beautiful. Okay.
And Leah had weak eyes.
That was
all she gets.
Only description that Leah got.
Weak eyes. Okay. Now, of the two, of course, Jacob falls in love with the younger one, Rachel. Okay.
Had strong eyes.
Apparently.
That's what you look for.
Well, as we read this story, I think there might have been a point at which Jacob had weak eyes too.
Yeah.
Fair.
But as we continue on, he falls in love with Rachel. He tells Laban, hey, I want Rachel. Mm-hmm. Laban says, okay, you can have Rachel, but it's going to cost you 7 years. So Jacob has to work 7 years for Laban to be able to get Rachel as his wife.
Yep.
And he does that. I think it's interesting the Bible states that 7 years seemed like but a few days for him because he was so in love with Rachel. Okay, keep that in mind. All right? Wedding date comes around. He takes
Big
Rachel.
day.
They have the wedding feast, okay? And as things progress, he wakes up in the morning, and who's beside him?
Not Rachel.
It's not Rachel. It's Leah. So somewhere in this whole thing, he somehow married Leah and not Rachel.
Well, Laban brought Leah to Jacob.
So then, my other question is,
some deceitfulness going on.
So
here.
was Rachel there during
good question.
the wedding feast?
Where was Rachel in all this?
Or was Leah veiled the whole entire time, and Rachel was stuck in some closet somewhere where she couldn't get out? I mean, there's so much here I just don't understand.
I don't know. That's a good question. She had to wonder, like, wait, where's my husband? If she was
And if Rachel was at the wedding feast, then she would have been technically married to Jacob too.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, there's a lot
Yeah.
here I don't understand. Like I said, this is one of those conversations. Like I said, if it was a reality show, it would be right up there with top rated. Okay, because you just can't make this stuff up.
Oh, you'd
Yeah.
be top of the charts with this one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huh,
Dude married the wrong woman.
Now I wonder, where was Rachel during all of this?
Yes.
Then
Did Laban, like I said, lock her in a closet somewhere
Yeah.
so she couldn't get
Or
out?
was he just like, dude, you're not getting married today. Sorry. Your sister's got to go first. She's older.
Laban knew what he was doing. Laban got 14 years worth of work out of this dude.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. But then it also says here in the commentaries that Leah also wanted this to happen too, which I find interesting. It's like, why would you want to be married to the same person your sister's going to be married? It just doesn't. Like I said, there's a lot here that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Okay. But once again, you can just see God working in the background trying to make things work. So
Bone strings.
he wakes up the next morning, which, again, the question is like, how much did you drink that night, Jacob?
Apparently a lot.
A lot, okay? And even the commentary says that's probably what it was. It dulled his senses, okay? It was either that or she was veiled the entire time, which, okay,
Who knows?
Be
Okay.
odd.
odd. But okay, whatever.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Let's blame it on the drink. So he wakes up. Of course, he's mad at Laban because he wound up with Leah instead of Rachel. And what does Laban say? Well, you can. In our custom, the younger daughter can't be married before the
Older one.
older daughter. Okay. So for some reason, Jake goes along with this plan. Okay, it makes sense. Laban says, "I want another 7 years." Jacob says, "Okay," gives him another 7 years. All right.
Yeah.
Long story short, he does finally get Rachel.
Yep.
And as you would suspect, guess which one's the favorite wife?
Rachel.
Rachel.
No kidding.
The one he wanted all along.
Yeah, say the original one that he wanted.
I mean, it's like, yeah. And then the story proceeds with basically a competition. Because Leah feels like her husband doesn't love her.
Well, that's
which
what it
which is
says.
probably true.
Yeah, and when the Lord saw
Uh-huh.
that Leah was not loved, he enabled her to conceive, but Rachel remained childless.
But could you really blame Jacob?
No.
I mean, this is not
He's
what
like, I didn't even want this one.
Yeah.
She's got weak eyes. She can't see. Why would I have chosen this?
But because of this, the Lord sees this, and what does he do? He grants Leah a whole bunch of kids. I think Amanda counted 6 of them.
Well, I think it was 6 sons and 1 daughter.
It
So I think
was
7.
Dina.
Yeah,
Or
so
Diana, how you say,
however
yep.
you say it. So 7 total, but 6 sons, which was.
Though females don't
Bigger
matter,
deal.
it's only the
That's
males.
why I'm saying it's the 6 sons is
Yeah.
what really matters.
Yeah. Okay.
True.
But in there, and just how this whole thing unfolds. I mean, the sisters are arguing amongst themselves, and it's just
Yeah.
It's like something that's in a reality TV show.
It is. This would be an interesting movie.
It would. Okay. And at the end of it, Rachel does finally have a kid, and that kid is named Joseph.
That's going to create issues.
Yeah. Just a little bit. Because once again, we have this thing called playing favorites. And it just doesn't work well.
Literally never.
Never. And it's one of those things, and it's interesting because it's one of those things that follows this whole family through.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They always pick favorites.
And every time it bites him.
And every time it bites them. Every stinking time it bites them. And every time they try to jump in there ahead of the Lord, it bites them too. For instance,
Yeah.
one of their ways to continue this competition of having friends was they gave their servants to Jacob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. God's got a plan in all this. Why not just wait on His timing? You know what I'm saying?
Because much like us, they want it now.
They want it now. And in that day and age, I understand that kids were what made a woman valuable. You know what I'm saying? So Leah was seeing herself as valuable because she could have kids, but Jacob didn't love her.
Nope.
Rachel saw herself as not being useful or important because she didn't have any kids, and yet that was the one Jacob loved.
Do you think she cared that Jacob loved her? Or was like just... Because like Leah... Because like she keeps saying, you're like, oh, I had a kid, maybe now my husband will love me. Rachel already had that, but you never see Rachel saying like, oh, at least...
Because I think she knew Leah knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she knew that she had that over her sister. You know what I'm saying?
True.
And I have a feeling that Rachel got more of Jacob's time than Leah did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Leah was basically probably the one that had to do the dishes and everything.
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
the
read
kids
that way.
were the only thing that she had that she felt like she could bring before Jacob. Whole messed up situation.
Yeah.
Very.
Okay? Whole messed up situation. But through all of it, we finally get to Joseph. All right? And it's amazing what the Lord does through Joseph. You know, God's got a plan no matter how messed up the family can be. You know what I'm saying?
Truth.
And I would say that none of that was part of God's plan. I don't think the Lord wanted Jacob to marry both of those women. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That was acceptable at that time, yes, but I don't believe that's exactly what God wanted him to do.
Probably not how he had it drawn up.
But that's what came about, and God still, even though that family was a complete disaster,
Literally.
he still used them to do big things. You know what I'm saying? And not
Massive.
only that, I mean, if you follow this whole story through and we start talking about Joseph, he uses the brothers' hatred to put Joseph in a spot where he's able to save the family later on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's amazing.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, that was a spoiler alert.
Massive spoiler.
But if you don't
Cut
put
that.
these pieces together and look at how it plays out in the end,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's God working in the background, putting
Yeah.
things together, putting these pieces together, saying this
Always.
is how it's going to work. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
No matter how messed up we are sometimes, God can still use us. You know what I'm saying? I would say let's not stay in that messed up place.
Yeah. Try to self-correct a little bit.
Let's try to fix some things and follow the Lord the way He wants us to. But in the end, God will use who He wants to.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I think sometimes we forget that God can accomplish anything. Granted, like I said, I don't want to just say, well, you don't have to do anything to fix your life because He can. No. We need to be constantly working to be more like Him, yes. But in the end, God will get accomplished what He needs to get accomplished.
Affirm.
And I would say through all of this, Jacob probably still followed the Lord. If you looked at his life and what he was doing, he was probably very much following the Lord. You know what I'm saying? But odds are he probably didn't know all of this stuff that was going on behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying?
No, he was living his life.
And this was all stuff that just was happening in the background, and he just came home and
Yeah.
didn't know anything about it.
No.
Yep.
You know. So, like I said, interesting stuff. Families were a mess back then, and God can use what He wants to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
I don't know. I think it's fun stuff to look at, fun stuff to talk about, and just shows that God's got a plan no matter what.
Agreed.
All right, we'll see you next time.